your men can have love for the truckie. Beautiful minds, but we love getting ugly. Risk takers with a clover, man, we love getting lucky. You run, we chase fire, I love when it ducks me. Tones go off, house watch, read the address out. 1075, get up off the magic couch. 500 gallons prepared for the baddest drought. Who else you want on the way when disaster's out? Can't even get a little bit rattled when you enter with exit apparel. Mayday, member down, they'll drag you. You won't get this from every Tom, Dick, and Harold, but here's a view from the top floor with Mickey Farrell.
This episode is just Jeremy and I catching up over a cup of coffee, where we discuss some of the current topics, tactics, and dilemmas plaguing the American fire service. And it's nice when Jeremy and I do get together, because we have a no-fluff all business attitude. We tend to push the limits on some hot-button issues that many shy away from. So I think that's exactly what we did in this episode. So stick around, I think you'll enjoy this. One quick announcement before we get started. Suncoast Fire Conference, Saturday, December 6th in Tarpon Springs, Florida. For those of you in the Tampa Bay region, it's going to be a great class with myself, Mike Ciampo, and Anthony Rowett, brought to you by the National Firefighter Training Foundation. Any questions regarding that, you can go to the National Firefighter Training Foundation website for any information and as far as registration. All right, without further ado, myself and Jeremy over a cup of coffee talking about the American Fire Service.
That to me is like the nostalgia of what I love, right? Like my childhood growing up, just like you, right? Around the same time period, right? All of that. But like those coats, we're talking about the coats that our dads wore. Not fire coats, but like outside the firehouse. The satin 3/4 length jackets, big zippers on them, pockets, big puffy patches.
And like the Maltese are like, it's like this big on them usually.
100%. It's like absurd. And then it's like script writing their name and it looks like shit. Like it looks like somebody freehanded it.
Yeah.
I wonder today if younger kids today have memories like that of the fire service when they were kids. Like I wonder, like my kids, right? From 31 to 17, do they have memories of the firehouse for themselves? Like, what did it look like for them compared to like what it looked like for me? Because I mean, I was so mesmerized by the open cabs, the hip boots, the long coats. I remember this guy, Kevin Clays, always wore his helmet backwards. It was like his thing. He's just fucking around, right? All those moments, like the flannel liners in the long coats. Do you remember those?
Oh, yeah.
With the corduroy collar and the corduroy sleeves.
My first bucket coat. 3/4 boots.
You call it bucket coat?
Bunker coat.
Oh, bunker coat. Okay.
Yeah.
I think you said bucket coat.
The smell. Remember I said the other day? I just said smell. Like rubber, diesel.
Mm-hmm. I said that on a podcast yesterday. I was talking about, I was talking to Dave Gallagher, right? Friend of both of ours. And he hasn't been on a fire truck in 21 years. He still teaches and trains and all that, but he's been retired since 2004, from 79 to 2004, right? He was on the job. And then he hasn't walked into a firehouse like that in forever. And I said, Dave, what does it feel like when you feel like you're growing away from the job? Like it's not what it was for you because, it's different people now, different department, all that. And we were chatting about that. And I said, we went a little bit further and I said, man, I think about when I go back up to Poughkeepsie and I go to the firehouse there and I haven't been there. I haven't ridden there I stopped in 2000. So 25 years ago is when I rode there, right? I rode there for 5 years. I lived in that place. But every time I go back, there's not a single guy there that worked when I was there. So it's all new people, but they know who I am. I probably because of National Fire Radio, and Rob being there, right? But I never went to any fires with any of those guys. But I love going back still because when you walk in that firehouse, it has that smell.
Yeah.
Like every place smells different. And it's just like hits you.
And then they rebuild these firehouses and you lose all that. You'd only lose the photos on the wall, the memories that were built there. You lose the smell.
We're talking about doing an addition now at our main station. And, I worry it's going to, like, we need a new kitchen. We need upgrades. There's no doubt. But I worry that like the culture that hangs on the walls and the feel of it being an older 50s, built in the 50s type building, and we're going to lose that charm.
I think you will.
Yeah.
Just because, where I grew up, same thing, where they closed two houses, they built one big house, and those two houses that were separate years ago, different personalities gravitated to those places. Put them together, there's a clash.
Yeah.
And with that clash, we lost a lot of the internal traditions that each house had. They almost like the competition, and it's not even spoken about. they've been in there years now. There's still photos that are just sitting on the table, never put back up.
We're guilty of it too, man. You know, we did some repairs a while back, and some of the photos never made it back to the walls. And it's like, all it would take is like a half a day to reframe them and get them back up on the wall. And like, we just don't take the time to do it. And I wish we did, you know?
It's a good reminder to do it. It's definitely a good project for young firemen looking for a place to show their worth.
So important, right?
And I think it's important to understand the legacy of what came before you. Those guys allowing you to live your dreams. We can't forget that, and we are losing that. I mean,
100% we're losing
the tradition of the job. It's still there, but you know, we talked about this on the phone yesterday. You know, the old thing: you can lead them into water, you can't make them drink. It's like, are we really begging these children, these kids coming on the job from 17 up to where we are? Like, you can't beg them to love the fire job, you know?
But are we dropping a ball on them? I look at like my own worth and what I do in my own department, and am I giving them the time that my mentors gave me? I don't think I am. I think my time is limited. I'm pulled in 1,000 different directions. And so my contribution to these kids, am I going all in on them like they went all in on me? That's a concern. It's easy to blame the younger generation, but we have to look at the guys that are raising them in the firehouse and say, are you guys truly giving these kids the opportunity that you were given? I wonder about that. I truly do.
I think it does fall on the senior members, not dropping the ball, but almost being discouraged about where we are and how we've gotten there and how quickly it happens. You know, this job goes by so fast. You're a volunteer. Before you know it, you're on the back end. And it's great as those moments are happening, but then you look back very quickly and you're like, how did we get here so quickly? And how did we lose so much of it in the process?
I think in the volunteer service, one of the biggest issues is we've lost that middle generation, those 30 to 45-year-olds in a lot of communities. We just don't have them. And so we're pushing the younger generation into leadership roles earlier in their 20s. And then we have the older guys in our departments. But that middle group that should be the bread and butter guys that have 10, 15 years in, still dialed in, those are the ones that are now having families and working second jobs, or their wives have really good jobs, so they don't need to work all that time or volunteer as much, right? And so I wonder if missing that middle generation are the ones that I grew up with in my firehouse that are no longer there. We don't have a lot of guys in their 30s and 40s in the firehouse anymore.
No, you don't. Again, I mean, the volunteer fire service is dying on a national level, unfortunately.
But you look at, like, if we're missing that generation, and then you have young kids coming in that are starving for information, and we only have an older generation of guys that have been there 25, 30, 40 years, they're getting tired. They don't want to have to put the work in that the 30 and 40-year-olds should be putting into our younger kids. Maybe that's one of the disconnects.
It is. You look at any athlete, from extreme athletes to baseball, football, basketball. Kids are so much better today at the sports. And it's just a natural progression of life, I guess. But maybe that's the way it is in the fire service, too. Things have sped up where you are that 5, 6 year guy, equivalent to what we would be 15, 16 years.
Very well be.
So we're just, not that we're advanced, because, you know, experience speaks for all of it within, you know, the fire ground. But everything else, culture is different. And maybe things are moving at a quicker pace that we have to fill in the gaps more.
Bro, when you and I started in the 90s, there weren't micro conferences. It wasn't popular to go outside your own zip code and train. You'd go to your local academy. You would read magazines, right? We didn't have the internet to fuel us. We didn't have the internet to provide other opportunities to find pages like yours or mine or whatever. We didn't have any of that. So maybe the 5, 6 year kid is like the 10, 12 year kid today. Yeah. I don't know. You know what I'm saying?
I think so. I think that they're more well-rounded.
Yeah.
But that's where we're getting into trouble now. It's because they're well-rounded. They're more, quote unquote, into the job. It's more socially accepted to go outside, like you said. But now we're building a false sense of confidence, a misguided skill set for some of these kids that are coming up thinking they're a lot better than they are. They truly haven't been tested or humbled. And that's where the dividing factor comes to, are you going to love this job or really love this job? Everything leading up to when the tones go off. That's easy. But you had to invest years before you can be able to perform at the highest level. But that comes from mistakes. And again, humility is the forward progression. I say it all the time. It's allowing humility to happen. For type A, you have to be to survive on this job, but you also have to be able to dial back that type A and learn from one another and from one another's mistakes.
Yeah, I think the other thing too is you got to be willing to make a mistake, which means you have to put yourself out there.
Yep.
Right? If you hang back on a job or you hang back at a run, and you're not willing to take initiative or take a risk, if you will, a calculated risk, right? Chances are you'll never make a mistake because you're being safe.
Yeah.
And I don't mean safe as in like safety culture safe. I'm saying you're playing it safe. You're not putting yourself in a forward position that potentially could end up in a spiraling situation, right? So like learning those mistakes, you have to be willing to get involved and be all in, because it's the only time you're going to allow yourself to make a mistake. And I think a lot of people are afraid to make mistakes today. I think this guy's going to hit my truck. But you know what I'm saying? Like you have to be willing. You have to be willing to make a mistake and then obviously know what to do with that.
You have to step up the fuck up, like they say, right?
I love that. I don't think I've ever heard that before.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It's truth, though, from everything. From step up the fuck up on the fireground, step up the fuck up. Hey, bro, I'm going to take over the T-shirt locker this year. All right, and then here's the test. Is you going to perform with the right T-shirts? The guy's going to be happy? No, they're not going to be happy. They're never happy. You can't please everyone. But at least you stepped up. You made a shit shirt, but you stepped up. No one can take that away from you. The soda machine, same thing. Everyone complains about what's in the soda machine, right? Well, you fucking do it, bro. Step up the fuck up. You have to take that initiative.
There's a lot there. And this is what I always think, like when you and I talk, I always sit back and you always catch me off guard with a couple things. And like the one thing that I'm thinking about right now with you is how you always talk about the little thing. It's in the details.
Yes.
And it's shirt locker, soda machine, right? Committee work. These are important things to you because that truly is the foundation for the fireground.
Yeah. And it's the character of who you are and who you become within that community, within that culture of the firehouse. That's your character. He's the soda machine guy. He's the T-shirt guy. He's the commissar. It all comes together. We have to have someone do it. And then you have the one who doesn't do anything, sitting back, criticizing everyone. And that's just the normal progression of life. But that's the firehouse. That's real life. As a young kid coming in, you're dealing with friend, and we've talked about this. My friends are in their 70s. I went and had a beer with a guy the other day.
Me too.
He's in his 70s.
Yep, me too.
He's a dear friend of mine. So ever since I was 17, 18 years old, coming around the firehouse, I had friends that were always much older than me. They guided you. They showed you the way. And they showed you by not being say, hey, Jack, come on, I want to show you something. You just stood back and watched them. Watch them do the T-shirts. Watch them cook the meal. It's about fitting in. And it all comes together, like you said. It is the foundation of the fireground. But it's the details within the life socially we live within those four walls behind the red door. It's important to step up the fuck up because it shows
That's it.
The senior guy that you're into it. I'm here, brother. I'm all in. It also shows the probie's coming in. That kid, wow, he's only got 3 years and he runs a soda machine. Wow. That's a big thing for a probie to see that.
I love the step up. You have to step up. You have to put yourself out there. You can't play it safe every single day of your life.
And it's a conversation that has to be had, too, because I see it often as people don't realize within that social community, within the firehouse, that they are moving up through that pecking order of life, family, where they went from probie to now the senior probie, to the Johnny, and it goes up and up and up, right? Then you hit middle management. That's a hard transition to go from middle management to senior guy. That's a big step that nobody really wants to take. Nobody wants to be the senior guy. It just happens.
It finds you, doesn't it?
It finds you.
Yeah.
And then when the senior guy says, bro, it's your turn. Your turn to take initiative. Your turn to go to the boss to tell him what's going on. Just step up, fill in that gap. You've now graduated from middle management to one of the senior guys. That's a big honor.
Your job values that position very much. A lot of places don't.
Yeah.
A lot of places don't have that built in, or it's not respected. In your job, there's a true respect for, and I've come to realize that like a lot of officers are truly guests to the firehouse in a way, right? Like it's the guy's firehouse, and yes, this is my firehouse, but these guys run the place.
Officers come and go.
Right?
Their brothers and sisters, they're there. That's their home. It's my home. And I'm not going anywhere. But I've always told the guys, you don't like an officer, give it a couple of years. There'll be another one that comes and takes his spot. We're here for the duration. Do we respect the officers? Yes, but a good firehouse, they stay out of the business.
Well, it polices itself.
Yes, it has
right?
to.
Yeah, it has to. But you have to have that mechanism in place. And you guys have, years and years and years of following suit that's how your job is managed.
Our senior guy is so well respected within the job.
Right.
The job pushed back against him and wrote policy against the senior guy because they know how much power he has, and it's a little intimidating.
But it makes sense, right? The informalness of being formal.
Yeah.
That's where I think the growth is, right? That's how you have the ability to maintain the tempo and the culture that makes your people thrive, right?
Yeah.
And when you start losing those rooted ideas of your job, that's when you start to get in trouble. I think so. I'm not saying your job specifically. I'm saying the fire service in general.
Yeah.
Right? We have to stay on track of the way we've done it. I know we have to innovate, and time changes, and we have to innovate with time and society and the type and style of people that are coming into the fire department today. But there are some things that we truly have to hold near and dear to the heart that we can't just let go.
It comes back to the generation of why. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I think it's good people ask why. At one time, you'd be like, watch that window. It's going to be out that window in about 4 seconds. See
Right.
one. Look.
Yep.
See that room? It just went off. See it? Back in the day, I'd be like, wow, pretty cool. And I would go figure out why. Today, they're just like, why'd that happen?
Right.
You have to have the answer. Luckily, I think most of us from our generation, we know the answer because we went and found it. The problem lies now when senior guys have that generation and ask you why. Well, it's like, yo, shithead, go figure it out yourself. I did.
Right.
And I'm not necessarily sure that's the right way. Because if you have the answer, I think we should give the answer. Not all the time. Sometimes say, bro, it's upstairs in the book. Go find it and read it. But something practical like that, where you would say, okay, the fire is going to light up this room because of this, and I've had this experience, I made this mistake, and that's why I've gotten to where I am because of this. This is why you have to do that. That's important as well, too.
But I think also, if you tell them, if you don't want to answer the why, that leaves it up to that person that's asking the why to go find it themselves. They don't have the same resources we have. They have an abundance of resources today. Who's to say that the answer they find is correct?
Yeah.
Right? And so that's a concern. I think the other thing, too, is a lot of the older guys in the fire service perceive the why as a threat.
Because they don't know the why.
Correct. And they should. If you're in a position that you should know the answer, you better damn well know it. And if you don't, you better be humble enough and have the humility to tell the kid, listen, I'm not 100% sure. I got to sharpen up on that, too. Let me find out.
Yeah.
Right? That's a very hard conversation for a guy to have.
As simple as the junior probie going to the senior probie and saying, how many scoops of laundry detergent do we put in for the sheets? If you don't know the answer, you're going to be like, what has this guy been doing the past 6 months he's been here? Right? Know the answer. From the details of that to the answer on the fire ground.
Right.
It all where you fit in. I always go back to where you fit in, but everyone has its place. Even in the volunteer world, right? Not everyone is the guy crawling down the hallway.
Mm-hmm.
Some guys is a chauffeur. Someone's cooking for the drills at night. But everyone has a role. It took me a long time. This is through my father teaching me this, that everyone has a role. Everyone fits in where they belong in the volunteer fire service. Again, not everyone's crawling down the hallway. As a young kid, I was so into the fire side of the job. I missed a lot of the stuff. I didn't stop to smell the roses as a kid. And I made a lot of enemies along the way doing
Me too.
that. And I wish I could go back and redo some of that. But it was all for the love of the game.
Mm-hmm.
I really loved the game.
I was right there. I'm right there with you. I told you when I was the young officer and a young chief in my volunteer firehouse. You kidding me? I was a piece of shit, man. I was terrible. I was terrible. I thought I was it, man. I had every answer. I knew everything that needed to be done. And when the room was silent, I'm the one talking. And now I find it today. Yeah, I talk a lot, but man, do I listen a lot more now. I'm a different guy today. And if I were to do it over again, it'd be a whole different animal, you know?
Who's the guy in Fairhope that you love? I love, we both love. Who wasn't there this year?
Oh, the guy, the fixer?
Was it Todd?
It might be.
Right?
The welder, the guy that did everything we needed.
I think about him a lot because he's the guy behind the scenes that really got no credit, and that conference wouldn't go anywhere without him. Those are the guys we need. Those are the guys that we're losing. And then when I see a young kid fall into that role, I was like, wow, they still exist. They're not as much as they used to, but there's still those guys that can step back and look at everything and say, this got to get done, that's getting done, let me go get that done. That's important. From the construction site to the fire ground, that's important. Looking at things, stepping back, and understanding what needs to be done. Those are the guys that I always looked up to. Those are the guys that was my father and his friends that I always admired as a young kid going to these fires and watching, like, wow, it all just makes sense. It's like a puzzle pieces going together. How did they do this? It's because they all had the ability to look back and see what needed to be done.
Yeah, which is that knowing where to fit in, right? And you talk about that a lot. One of my concerns about that topic, though, and I speak about it, is a lot of times guys do things today for the recognition. They want the recognition of doing something. And so they beat their chest and they advertise that they did it just to let you know they were the guy. Instead of doing it for the right reasons, they do it to inflate themselves.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's a sense of wanting to feel like belonging or if it's their own ego inflation. I don't know what it is. But at the end of the day, like, you and I talk about this all the time. It's not about you and me. It's not, man. It's about the greater good, right? It's about the guy or girl you're riding next to. It's about the department. It's about your company. It's about the public we serve. And, you know, I think when we insert ourselves too often into the conversation and it becomes about me and not about it, we're going to be in trouble.
There's so much to that, and I want to break down a little bit of that.
Yeah, do it.
Where I've said this in the past. I haven't said it in a while, but I do think about it often, is that, and this isn't a tactical debate about cutting roofs. Like, often you go to fires, especially in the volunteer world, and you'll see 4 or 5 guys on the roof and one guy stretching the line. One guy's cutting the roof, there's 4 or 5 guys standing there. And after fires, I've asked guys, what were you doing on the roof? Oh, I was up on the roof. Doing what?
Photo op.
And it's not about ego. I think it's about not understanding where to fit in, not
Correct.
knowing, having the ability to step back and say, we got to get that line in position. Then we got to get a second line backing into the first line. We got 2 guys on the roof. Let me go to the rear, see what's going on. You have to be able to look at that tactically. When you can't wrap your brain around the IQ of firefighting, you default to go to the roof because you see other guys and you follow, and everyone will see you as you're on your platform, on your stage, looking up. Oh, there's Jay. He's on the roof. You get back to the fire. So what'd you do? I was on the roof. You saw me. So I think it comes from not understanding where to fit in.
Yeah.
And if we can teach firefighters the basics, the gaps to be filled, you'll see guys go from 5 guys on the roof to 2 guys on the roof because those other 3 are fitting in.
How do we teach that?
Chess. The game of chess. It parallels the fireground identically. I believe that. Sometimes I just play chess with guys.
I saw your post the other day. You posted a picture of like guys playing chess in the park.
Yeah, I hang out with those guys all the time.
Yeah. But chess takes time, and there's no immediate return on a chess match because the first 50 matches, you're going to get your ass wiped.
The first 55,
Right.
you get your ass wiped.
I agree with you, right? But this is where I'm going with
Okay.
this, right? I mean, think about, if I play checkers, chances are I'm going to win. I'm going to get some king me's and work back on the board, and I'm going to wipe your ass. There's an instant return when you play checkers, but chess is a thinking man's game. And like I always say, how do you teach initiative? Right? It starts really at those basics. How many scoops of detergent go in the washing machine? That's how you teach initiative, right?
Yeah.
And so it's those detailed items that allow you to create this thinking man's game for positioning on the fireground, right? I think where you come from or where you are today, you guys are very position-oriented, company-oriented, task-oriented. Everything is scripted for you guys. When you take that outside of your zip code, a lot of the fire service is reactionary. We're not proactive, we're reaction, right? So the fire is presenting itself, and now we have to divvy up crews and positions and jobs because we're running a 3-man engine, a 2-man truck. Your second due engine is probably 6 minutes out. So now the fireground is completely different than the fireground that you know. I mean, there's a lot of similarities, but now you have to fit in even more so, right? You see what I'm saying?
Does the game change, though?
No, because
Same
the
game.
same jobs have to get done, right? So now, but that's where understanding where to fit in is incredibly more important on a less manned fireground, I think.
Yeah, well, it goes both ways. For where I'm from, leaves a lot of room for guys to not necessarily not fit in, but hold back.
Yeah.
Because we'll fill the gap for you, because we're looking at this and understanding tactically, this has to go done, this has to get done. If the first 2 guys not getting it, the second guy will going to get it for you.
Yeah.
Then that comes to a conversation we have to have. But having the ability to look at the fire seam and pivot to fill those gaps, that's firefighter IQ. We still have to learn the game. Doesn't matter how many players you have. And this is where we get lost. Staffing is an issue. Is an argument? No. Because we have to know the game. And I always, this the analogy I use is that everyone knows the game of basketball, either from the playground to elementary rec to junior high, high school, college, and moving on. We understand the game. We've all shot hoops. How often as a kid did you go down the playground and play 5-on-5
Never.
court press?
Right.
Never. However, you go down the playground and you play 2-on-2, 3-on-3 with your boys.
I get it.
But it's the same game. You just have to know when to pivot and fill in that gap on the court. Go to a fire, it's the same game. And the argument goes the other way. It doesn't matter where you are in the country, fire, still kill you, right? And there's truth to that. It's still the same game. You have to understand how to play the game. And that's firefighter IQ. How do we make initiative to learn firefighter IQ? I don't think the answer is chess. I was kind of kidding with that, but I do think that slowing down, understanding the devil is in the details, and that upon moving into position, it's easy as picking up a coupling off a parked car and taking it 2 steps and dropping it. It's a very small, minor detail, but ultimately that line is going to get progressively moved forward. Water on the fire, checkmate. The details.
I worry, though, that this is where there's a disconnect, is teaching that firefighter IQ. And, you know, the only way that you truly learn it is to love it. There has to be this kind of crazy relationship with it, because you have to continually educate yourself. You have to go, you mentioned it before, man, I love buffing fires, right? If I can. And if they're in it, I don't buff as many as I used to. But man, I used to buff fires all the time. And it was just to be able to stand across the street from a fire building. You start to get a different appreciation for the actual fire ground. When you're working the fire ground, yeah, you're seeing conditions and stuff, but you're in and out. You're floor above. You're doing all these things. When you get a chance to just stand there and look at a fire building, what you can learn from that when it comes to positioning, building construction, conditions, tempo of the fire ground, you can sense when things are starting to get a little crazy when you're standing across the street because you're taking it all in. I think that's all very much a part of it. And I want so much so for this younger generation to understand how important it is to go all in on this thing.
Every fire we go to is a blessing. Whether it be you're driving down the street to grab coffee and a building's on fire and you're stopping it out and you watch, it's a blessing to be there.
Yeah.
We have to remember that, especially when we're going as the fast truck or the red team. We're pissed off when you get that ticket. Like, oh, no, fire. Comes out and you look, fast truck. Right? Everyone does it. If you don't love the game. But that's an opportunity to go and stand in front of a fire building and be proactive, but also just admire.
Yeah.
To learn, to see the tempo of a fire. It's important that when you go to a fire, you cherish every moment you have there. Going to fires as a kid was very important for me with my father.
Right.
We weren't buffing. We were going to a fire to watch a fire. We weren't there taking pictures, looking at the rigs. No, we were there, and my father was saying, watch that room. See the smoke? Watch, Mickey, watch. It's going to light. Boom. See that? Reading smoke. Fire dynamics. It comes to going to fires. And the beauty of it now is you don't have to drive around going to other people's fires, dodging the cops, running in, sneaking in, all that stuff. You go around on YouTube and see all the fires happen that day.
That's what I was going to say. That was YouTube of years ago, right? Yeah.
But this is something else I love about that is that all these guys that I've looked up to over the years as a young firefighter coming in, most of them now retired, legendary firemen. Guys that I had opportunities to go to fires with, but not necessarily crawled on hallways with. However, I smelled the same smoke they smell. It was the same bitter cold morning I felt in my skin that they felt in their skin. So all that experience comes alive. It's real. Going to fires. We're not necessarily doing everything that people we look up to are doing in that moment. All these giants from the rescue companies when I was a young fireman, kind of like, wow, look at these guys. I wish I could be doing what they're doing. You can. You're a pro, but you still have to learn the job. But you're at that same fire with them. You watch that room light up with them. You watch them cut the roof like they cut the roof. So you're a part of it, even though you're not a part of it. And that comes from admiring, loving, and the details. Seeing every little thing. Don't miss anything. The fire ground is like a blank canvas. And when you sit and start painting that canvas, everyone paints the picture differently, but it's the same portrait. You go to an art class. All right, we're going to paint this. Everyone paints it. Everyone looks at it. It's similar, but a little different. And that's the beauty of this job, is that everything is a little different, even though it's the same. And its culture is personalized. We can't teach culture. We can pass it on. We can nourish it. We can love it. We can't teach it. And that's where we get lost too. We're trying to teach culture. There's so many people on this thing, the platforms and the conferences trying to teach culture, writing books on culture. Stop. Just get out and live it. Don't teach it.
Get out and live it. So good, dude. It's so good. And to be able to do that, you got to be present.
Exactly.
You got to be present. I mean, if you want to be a part of something, you have to be there. You have to be ingrained into it. You have to allow it to infect you in some ways. Right?
And you have to buy in. That's the main thing. Kids don't want to buy in anymore because when they ask why, and you walk away from them, like, well, I'm not buying into this. I want to know why I should buy in. And sometimes we've spoken about this in the past. It's not written down. And that's when you say, kid, I promise you, just trust it. It'll be the best thing that ever happened to you. I can't write it down anywhere because it's a feeling from within, but I promise you, it's pretty good. Trust, loyalty, right? All the things I talk about to make a great fireman. It all comes down to where you put your kids in a firehouse. Don't necessarily look at the runs and workers. Go with the senior officers. That's going to mold their career. Fires come and go. It's about the legacy that has to live on.
So good. So good. So what's going on with you? A lot of teaching?
Steady. Just did Providence. That was a nice experience. They had a great conference up there. The president, the vice president, two great guys. They did a nice thing. Great turnout. You know, that's what I like about the Northeast. Everyone's kind of on the same page there. You know, anything I've ever done in New England, across the board, they're firemen. And and I told them that. I said, it's an honor to be teaching here, or just speaking with you guys and hanging out with you more or less, is that they're all cut from the same cloth, if you will, you know. You go to places in the country, everyone, you know, kind of cliquey up there. It may be cliquey within, but they're firemen. They're firemen in New England, you know. And that was nice to be a part of that.
I know the grind of it can take its toll, though. You know, you and I've talked about that. Anybody that travels and teaches and talks, it can be a lot at times, you know. So kind of feeling that right now this year, kind of whooped my ass, you know, with the travel. I still enjoy it, and I need it. Kind of lights my fuse, you know what I mean? You kind of get down, you kind of get tired, you know, and then you go off for a weekend and you come back and you're like, it was good. It was a good. You and I always say, how'd it go? Went well. Could have done better. They didn't notice, you know. It's like my 70% is still, I think, for people, you know, pretty good. And so you always want to be at 100%, but sometimes it's impossible. But the delivery is still there. But I don't know, man. I think it's important. What we just talked about, I mean, to be able to take that and share it with other people and let people know, like, and I think this is a lot of the messages you get and I get, is like people are just starving for something more or something real, maybe.
Yeah.
They're looking for something more real than what they're exposed to.
I think something behind that is that in the Northeast, in our opinion, our humble opinion, it's the mecca of firefighting, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's where we live.
Look at the history, right?
Yeah.
I mean, not many places that share the same longevity that we have.
And what's special about it is because of social media and so many platforms out there, it's being exposed more. And other pockets of the country that have really, really good guys that love this job, they're like, what is this? Look at this tradition, this culture, the legacy. What is all this? And now it's spreading, and now guys are hungry for it. They want it. They want it. And how do they get it? Let's have a conference. Let's bring these guys in. You know, let's see what they have to say. And that's very real, because when you go places, you have the conversation with the people putting on the conference, and they say, we're just trying to get guys into the job here, fire them up. You know, a lot of good kids here. We just need some guidance on developing this culture. And I think that's what we're doing. And the culture is spreading across the country from coast to coast, because, I mean, we are both on both coasts doing this, and it's all the same dudes, and they're all great guys that are into it. It's just that we've given them an opportunity.
Yeah, I would love to be able to take like different guys with me every time I travel.
Yeah.
You know, if it was possible, just be like, come with me for a weekend. I promise you, it's worth it.
And every city I go to, there's at least one guy that I want to take back with me.
Right. Right.
Yeah. It's good stuff. I never thought I'd be doing that, or any of this for that matter. What else? How's things with you?
Things are good.
Yeah.
Busy, you know, a lot going on.
Talk about the studio a little bit. Let's hear about this. I haven't been.
Studio's been good. I know you haven't.
Well, I've been there. I haven't been there.
I know. I'm trying to get you back. It's been really good. It's nice to have offices and production studio now. The problem is like my time is spread so thin that like trying to get everything situated there, I'm still growing into it. And I've been there since March, but it's a great space. You've seen it. I had some guests in there over the week, do a lot of meetings from there. I do my recording from there, but it's just a great spot. And we got some really fun things that are coming out for 26. We're going to work on some things with you that are going to be cool. I think we're going to offer a couple different varieties of information from you and your show and how we're going to be able to get it out there in different formats. I'm excited for that. I look at it this way, right? Everything we try to do is just to make it a little bit better. That's it. I'm not trying to like conquer the world by any means. I see where there's holes, and I think I always say like it's worth fighting for. The whole thing, it's okay to love the job. Of course it is, right? I also think it's worth fighting for. I don't think we should be rolling over. And I think a lot of guys today are just rolling over because they don't have it in them to fight for it anymore. I'm not ready to give up. I'm not saying that we're losing. I'm not saying it's what gets a lot of talk is the negativity of it all. Or even just every day, like our conversation earlier, can be viewed as maybe a little bit negative. We're talking about things that need attention, or how do we do this, or we're lacking this, right? Is that even on its worst day, it's still so much better than almost everything else. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I don't think we're in a bad place with today's fire service. I just think
it's all subjective. How do you, if you're a guy in a shitty place, in a shitty town with a shitty fire chief, and you hate your job, well, guess what? It's probably pretty shitty for you, man.
Yeah. It's the same thing if you have a shitty parent who just throws the tablet in front of your face.
So what do you do?
Interact with you.
Right. What do? You give up?
Yeah. No, you don't.
People that come from abusive homes, alcoholic homes, things like that, do those kids just roll over and maybe? But you know what? There's kids that come from a terrible childhood that are incredibly successful. It's what you have with it, man. It's like, what's in here? What do you want from it? If your job's not giving you what you want, go find it. Pick yourself up. Stop. And this is that quiet quitting I'm talking about. This is that rolling over, not fighting for it. It's like, it's there. You have more opportunity than ever before to contact people, to find people, to look for something more.
Yep.
If you're seeking it, go freaking get it.
The senior man is in the palm of your hand now if you need it.
Very much, in a lot of ways. But here's the thing. Years ago, you read a trade journal article and you see who the author is and you loved his article. You didn't really have a way to connect. You didn't really have a way to ask or seek out more of their information. Today, you can reach right out to that author.
Yeah.
You can send them a message on Facebook or Instagram, or send them an email, because everybody publishes their email, or even phone numbers these days. You have the opportunity to connect with people that can make a difference for you. Take the initiative.
Yeah. It's a pretty wild world we live in where you can reach out to
100%.
people, right?
Think about some of the guests you've reached out to.
Yeah.
SEALs and special teams operators and people that, I think you had a senator on your show, right?
Yeah.
Like, when you think about that, how would you have ever been able to get them on before?
Yeah.
And today we have the access to it. So if you're starving or looking for something more, or you need something more, you're not getting it in your own zip code, go get it.
When it's all said and done, they're just folk.
They're just folk.
They're just folk.
You said that to me yesterday, bro, and that really resonated with me in a lot of ways.
Don't ever be scared to reach out to anybody and don't ever think that you're not worthy to sit at the table. In the end, they're just folk. It's a great way to look at it, right?
No doubt.
You have to look at it that way. And once you do look at it that way and then you have success, you realize you're unstoppable. There's so much information and resources out there just waiting. People are waiting to give it to you. You just have to reach out. Don't be intimidated. Even within the firehouse, I see probably scared to ask the question sometimes. Ask the question. Ask the question. You'll get the answer. And if you don't, then that's the guy you don't go to next time. Go to the next one.
That's right.
You'll get what you're looking for.
Yeah. I don't know. I think things are okay. I would say that the people we get to surround ourselves with, we know it's okay. Because I still surround myself with people that challenge me to want more and to be better. And that's what I aspire to every day. And I hope that every day is just a little bit better, man.
I do believe that old saying that when you're the smartest man in the room, it's time to move on. Find a new room.
No doubt. No doubt. I enjoy this. I think you and I need to do more of this. It's just you and I talk every couple days on the phone or text or whatever, but it's nice to share a cup of coffee.
Yeah. It's been a while.
Yeah.
So what's coming up for you?
We got a lot of projects, working with a lot of different manufacturers. I've got a bunch of speaking gigs through the end of the year. 26 calendars filling up on things. That Bridging the Gap class is still very strong for me, and a lot of people are hungry for it. So that's really cool, and I'm humbled by that. I think the message is pretty strong there. So that's exciting. And then we're looking at new opportunities. I talked about this new project that we're rolling out called the Legacy Project, which is a way to recognize those guys that you and I love so much, those 70-year-old guys, those 60-year-old guys that have retired. They're frustrated with technology. They don't necessarily know how to navigate the space today, and so their messages are getting lost. Their experiences aren't being shared. And so what the Legacy Project is for me is inviting those guys to have a place in my family that they can record on our software right from the comforts of their home. And whether it's 30 seconds or 5 minutes or 4 hours, they can go right into my software over a cup of coffee every morning and leave a memory or an experience or a nugget. And then we'll take care of it on the back end. And that will be offered through audio and video, obviously, but it will also be offered in written form too. And what we can do is now we're protecting the legacy of those guys. And through innovation and technology that National Fire Radio does, I can take the traditional conversations, the guys of yesterday, and capture their stories in perpetuity, exactly what National Fire Radio was built on 7 years ago when I started this thing. And so the Legacy Project, I hope, will be cathartic for those guys too. It might give them an outlet where they're home frustrated, looking at social media and shaking their heads, and they don't know how to get their own message out there. Or maybe they come across as disgruntled or angry, but in fact, they're just frustrated because they're having a hard time navigating today's space. I want to offer them an opportunity. And that's what the Legacy Project is going to be about. And you'll be able to search individual people that will be on that platform. And it's going to be a constantly evolving and growing. But I'm excited. Dave Gallagher, he's my guinea pig on this project, and we were chatting about it yesterday. Dave's got so many stories to share and so many insights and just magical moments and fireground lore and experience and all of it. And I said, Dave, I've been on him for 4 years to write a memoir. I was like, I'd love for you to write a book. You know how hard it is to sit in front of a keyboard every day and write? It's very hard. You know that. But if they can speak it, and it's done through normal conversation, and then we can take those conversations and we can put them out on multiple platforms of delivery, audio, video, and written. We can build his legacy, and one day I can put together that book for him, that memoir for him. And all he has to do every morning is sit down with a cup of coffee and hit record. How freaking cool is that?
It's amazing. Amazing.
Really excited for that. And I'm excited for some of the people that I've talked to about it. Dave's going to be my guinea pig so we can work out some of the kinks up front. And then we're going to start offering this program to guys that I feel have been instrumental in the development of the fire service, people that were mentors of mine. Some of the tables I sit at today or the chat groups I'm in, I just shut up and listen, man. Like, you know what I'm saying?
They're the ones that made it a profession.
Yes. Yes. And I don't want to see them disappear without leaving it behind. They have so much to share. Why do you think you had a beer with a 70-year-old guy the other day? Right? Why do you have guys like Pete Partridge come back into your life, and Bob Pressler, and like guys that have truly made an impact on this job are the ones that you like to hang out with. Those are the guys I like to hang out with. So the problem is that they're going to fade away. And they're going to take everything that they have with them because they don't have a method to really share it anymore, other than the people they greatly impact, like sitting down and having a beer with you or I. They can impress upon us, and that's invaluable, and I appreciate those moments to no end. But I want to share those moments with everyone.
Yeah. There's so many times where I'm on the phone with certain guys.
Right?
And I'm like, man, I wish everyone could hear this right now. Like, I'm so lucky, blessed to be there listening to these people talk. The message needs to get out there, and with this platform you're going to do here, I think it's going to get out there, and I think that's going to be your biggest success.
I'm excited for it very much. I think
mainly because it goes back to where you started from.
No doubt.
And you built the journey to get there. But what's important is that it's still back from what your initial vision was.
You know, it's funny. A lot of people don't really understand me. They don't get me. And they see my social media and it's apparatus stuff, it's fire stuff. It's it's also me doing my rants and my opinions and my ideas. And a lot of people can get turned off by that, and I appreciate that. That's fine. I'm not for everyone. And but there's like everyone, there's different sides of us. I want to share it all. I want people to know who I am, but what I want people to understand truly. How are you? Good, thank you. What I truly want people to understand is that I'm in it for the right reasons. This has nothing to do. As much as I put myself out there, it truly has nothing to do with me. It's all about the guys that I meet along this way. But I had to put myself out there so people knew who I was, so I can get myself into those rooms and get myself into a position in the fire service to now take a platform like National Fire Radio that took me 7 years to grow into something that a lot of people now know. And now I can start making that true impact. I hope to fade into the background. I hope my message and my face kind of fades as I start to push everyone else forward. That's truly what I want to do with this.
Well, I think your success comes from your authenticity and your full disclosure of what this is about, who you are. Anyone that's following you from the beginning, and I'm one of them, I know you're authentic, and I know you're genuine, and I know you're honest. Those that have been following you through the journey, I think they understand everything you just said.
I hope so. Who do I have to repay for my love of the fire service? It's my father, and it's all those guys that I looked at when I was a little kid visiting the firehouse. Those guys were giants.
Yeah.
They were 10 feet tall, absolute giants that made me fall in love with something that's so much bigger than myself. And now at 48 years old, I've really come to appreciate those early days of my life and the exposure to the fire service, what it's done for me, the articles that I've read, the videos I watched. I mean, shit, I've seen every American Heat video, right? I've seen every, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
every on scene. I've seen every A&E special. I can't get enough of it when I was young. And now today I have an opportunity to hopefully have a platform that I can now thank all those people that have done so much for me. Let me get your stories. Let's build legacy for each of you. And that is how we protect the legacy of the fire service. We have to capture that and share that with the next generation, or we will lose.
You have to look at yourself as a magnet. And all these little filings are coming to you, because I was one of those little filings that was attracted to what you were doing. It gave me a rebirth, and here we are today, 7 years later. And I thank you for that, and I thank you in the past for that, and I truly mean that. You probably impacted and influenced so many people, you just don't realize it. And again, that comes from just being authentic. And you're not looking at you, you're looking at the big picture. And with that, maybe you're not seeing the details of everything you are impacting, but it's probably more than you could even imagine.
I know I get a lot of messages and people reach out, and for that I'm humbled. And I think my message resonates with a lot of people, but I also know that I'm not for everyone, and that's okay too, right? You don't have to. I think if everybody likes you and your message, everybody adores your message, I don't think you're doing it right.
Right.
You can't be liked and loved by everyone. I just want to make sure that at the end of the day, I've done everything I can to give back to something that I love. And it's truly what it's about. Listen, I'm not perfect. I'm not sitting here like a fucking saint. Like, that's not what I'm saying. I just know for me, I have truly come to realize that I enjoy giving back. That's my fulfillment. I don't need extra zeros in the bank account. I don't need a parade. I don't need pomp and circumstance for what I do. What I value is sitting here for an hour with you today. That 7 years ago, I didn't know who you were, but because of what I decided to do, we've become very good friends. That to me is the return all day long. I'm excited. I think 26 is going to be a big year for us. We have a lot of moving pieces. We have a lot of things on the plate, and I'm excited to, I got 20 balls in the air right now. If I can catch 11 of them, we're in good shape, But we're moving forward, bro. And I just, I always get excited to watch the success of those around me. And I think that's the other part of it too, is like, for me, I want to fade into the background because I love to put other people on, and I want the attention shown on other people that I think bring tremendous value and you're one of them. And the growth that you've had, and the friendships you've made, and the impact you're making, it's awesome. If I had a little part to do with that, man, that's it.
You got a big part to do.
Wow.
Forever grateful.
That's it for me, man. I mean, that's as simple as it gets.
But we have to remember this, is that it is chess. It's not checkers.
No doubt.
This is the long game.
Long game.
We've just begun.
Enjoy the process, and more so trust the
Yeah.
process. So I appreciate you, Mick.
All right, boy.
All right, pal. Thanks for the sidewalk coffee. Next one's on me.
You got it, brother.
Thanks, dude.